Welcome to the Caregiving Podcast. I'm Inga.
And I'm Julie.
And long story short, we have Caregiving. We are two momtrepreneurs who have built an in-home care business from the ground up, guided every step of the way by God's care and fueled by agape love. Almost 14 years later, we felt called to create this podcast as a resource for families with caregiving needs. Whether you care for a family member or are looking for advice on professional caregiving, we want this to be a platform to support you.
Each week, we will come to you with encouraging stories of families who have found the right balance for their loved ones, tips for how to care for them and you, and much more. We hope you continue to join us each week as we share in this exciting new journey together.
Hello, Sunshines, and hello, Julie. How the heck are you today?
I'm good.
Good?
Good.
Cool.
Yeah, I have a thing I have to say.
Oh, good.
I did have a poppy seed muffin for breakfast.
Nice.
So if you happen to see any of those little things come out in my teeth, it's a problem.
Looks good right from where I sit.
Thank
so
you.
hopefully.
I've been checking, but that's why I don't like to eat Oreo. Well, I love to eat Oreo cookies, but when I have to talk to somebody, anything with poppy seeds or Oreo cookies, it's all over the place.
Yeah, and broccoli.
Ugh, well, that's not a problem. I don't eat broccoli.
That will never be a problem because you don't eat it.
But I was just like, stop production if you see that I have a poppy seed muffin little nugget in my...
I'll say, caca, and then you'll know that it's time to...
Problem.
And then I'll just talk for a little while so that you can dig around in your teeth and get rid of it. And
Yes.
then, anyway.
Then we can get restarted.
Perfect. So how are you?
Other than the poppy seed muffin fiasco, I am good.
That's awesome. Man, alive. So you have kind of a topic today that it's going to be interesting to go through this. And I think about like some of my own experience on this taste and smell stuff. And so I'm excited to get into it. But let me ask you this. How powerful is your sniffer?
Well, let me see. I live on a ranch that's very close to the front door of the house. So I'm used to those smells. And I think that they say you become, what is that?
Nose blind.
Nose blind
Yep.
to, your own stuff.
Yep.
And then, you have the super sniffer
I know.
though. If you can't smell it, then we know something's wrong
Something
with
is
you.
very, very wrong. Yeah. My personal COVID story, several years ago, we were helping a friend out and we were picking up a buck, like a goat, and taking him, which anybody that knows anything about goats and especially bucks, they're pretty stinky.
Oh, boy.
So we were picking one up in Spokane and then delivering it to Oregon. And anyway, we got there and Kevin and Bailey unloaded this buck out of a box on the trailer and then put it in our trailer. And we get back in the truck and we get on the road and they start talking about how stinky it was. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't smell it at all.
Oh my goodness.
And that was our clue that things were terribly amiss for me.
Oh gosh. Oh
and
my gosh.
it did indeed turn out to be COVID. So,
oh wow.
but yeah, I've got a super sniffer and I do go nose blind at times, but it's always nice when I walk into my house and I can smell my little Bath and Body Works wallflower and I'm like, oh good, it doesn't smell so bad like the farm in here.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very psychologically like it messes with you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I lost my smell and my taste with COVID, I like daily, I was practicing smelling. So I would find, coffee and things that are like really, really, have a lot of strong smells. I would just try to, and then one day after about 3 or 4 weeks, I started to get just a little tiny hint of smell and then I felt better, but
Right.
it kind of messes with you.
Oh my word. Yeah. Yep, definitely. So I
Oh Lord.
I'm always thankful when you can't smell because maybe I have my shoes off during the day or whatever. You can walk it in my room. Just walk away. Turn around and go away.
Go away.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's actually kind of a curse, really, to have a super sniffer because I
boy.
do end up getting very sensitive to strong smells.
Oh, that's
and
not
then
good.
it can give me a headache, and then it makes you nauseous.
True.
I'm just kind of a diva, so these little things, especially stinky feet, bother me.
Ew.
So keep your shoes on.
Ew feet.
You. Well, anyway, moving into the verse of the week, you brought to us Psalms 34, chapter 34, verse 8, and it says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him."
Yep. I just picked that one because it said taste. And we were We were talking about the senses.
Perfect. Well, nailed it.
Yeah.
Good job. No, that is a good verse, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like the ones that you don't see all the time everywhere, but the little nuggets and gems of,
Yeah. Yep.
So, Julia, what did you bring for an uplifting story for us today?
It's the cutest one ever.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
Oh, yes. One day, a rich dad took his son on a trip to the village. He wanted to show him how poor someone can be. They spent time on the farm of a poor family. Dad asked, "Did you see how poor they are? What did you learn?" And the son said, "We have one dog. They have four. We have a pool. They have rivers. We have lanterns at night, and they have stars. We buy food. They grow theirs. We have walls to protect us. They have friends. We have encyclopedias. They have God's teachings." And basically, then the son looked at his dad and said, "Thanks, Dad, for showing me how poor we are."
I love that. I love that. Yeah. It makes me think so much of my grandpa Fisher. He was like a climber and did a lot in Glacier Park. And my mom would tell me that they would climb and get to the top and, be looking out over the valley. And he would say, "I wonder what the poor people are doing today."
Right?
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. It really is a matter of perspective, right?
Oh, all about it.
For sure. Well, I don't necessarily have an uplifting story, but I have the best find ever.
Okay.
And it gets credit to my Aunt Janice. So in previous episodes, and I know just in speaking with you in general, I've talked to you about referencing or referring to my mom and Aunt Janice and my grandma Fisher as the Ethels.
So
well,
funny.
As it turns out, there's actually a website. It's by AARP, but it's the Ethels.
Oh,
I swear to God, or the Ethel, I believe. So anyway, this is how it goes. The mission is to smash the stereotypes surrounding aging and come together as a community so that we can be loud, be heard, and be connected. Let's celebrate life and all that's in store for us while also being honest about the challenges we face. So join us today in a place where women own the conversation.
Oh my gosh.
So this website, actually, it's AARPETHEL.com. So AARPEthel.com. And basically, it has sections on ageism, health, lifestyle, fulfillment, relationships, work, and money. And I just thought, oh my God, I can't even believe it. So Aunt Janice sent that to me like 2 days ago.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
there's actually, it's actually a thing. Love it.
That is
Ethels,
perfect.
not Ethels. Ethels.
Yes, make
So
sure
go check
we
it out.
We know the difference there.
For sure. Go check it out.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. So topic of the day, taste and smell.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Let's do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So who would have ever really thought about it as you're young, that as you age, your senses change, which is only logical.
Right.
So we're going to talk about smell and taste today.
Right.
And I think a lot of people actually had to think about it a lot younger than they would normally due to COVID and all of the stuff that was going on. And so it's kind of brought it to the forefront, like you had mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's interesting because we know that sight kind of goes away a little bit at times for certain people and hearing changes, but you don't really, it's not top of mind to think about taste and smell, but it makes sense that those things would change as well.
Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, they said that Sally looked forward to Thanksgiving dinner at her daughter's house every year. She loved the smell of the turkey and all the fixins. She couldn't wait to dig in, but this year it didn't smell like Thanksgiving. And when Sally ate the holiday food, she felt let down. It wasn't as tasty as she remembered. No one else seemed to notice. Sally was wondering what might be wrong. Could her senses be the problem?
Very much so.
What a downer.
That is a bummer. Oh.
Yeah.
You don't want Thanksgiving to be ruined.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, did you know that smell and taste are actually connected? Those senses are. And that as you get older, these senses can change. And basically, you might find certain foods, they aren't as flavorful as they used to be. Basically, you also need to pay attention because changes in smell and taste can indicate or be signs of a larger problem. So don't just let it go.
Right, right. And also the thing about smell is that we just don't even think about how important smell can be to us in memories. When you walk in and you smell your dad's cologne or whatever that smell is.
For me, it would be Grandpa Fisher's pipe smoke.
Awesome. Yeah, horses.
Yep.
Horses have a very different smell that brings back a lot of joy.
Yep, for sure. Basically, as you age, your sense of smell might fade, and the sense of smell is closely related to the sense of taste. And when you can't smell, food may taste bland.
Mm-hmm.
And at times, people actually even lose interest in eating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I'm going through that with my husband right now. He had gotten COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's been over a year now. And he got a pretty decent case of it, where for several days he was just not well. And still, he occasionally I'll make a really good dinner, and I'm so excited to get his input on it. And he'll go, couldn't taste it, couldn't smell it. And I'm like, oh, why do I bother? Here, have another burger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dang it.
Well, and there are things that actually can cause losses of smell. So like, as you're mentioning, COVID or coronavirus, cold and flu, those can cause a stuffy nose. And usually with those, your sense of smell will come back eventually when you're feeling better.
Right.
Allergies.
Yep.
Can cause some problems for you.
Okay.
Polyps, and these are harmless growths in the nose or the sinuses, and they can give you like a runny nose, but those can cause problems with your ability to smell.
Medications like antibiotics or blood pressure medicine. And basically just if that starts to happen, ask your doctor if there's something else you can take.
Yeah, if it's causing problems for you, for sure. And then like radiation, chemotherapy, other cancer treatments. And again, those things, your smell might return after treatments stop if you lose any of it during treatment time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then head injuries. It's really interesting where you get bonked on the head, what you're going to lose. Right. And some of them could be where your sense of smell or taste come from.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes with those head injuries, it can be lifelong. You might not recover those senses necessarily, or at least at the level that you're used to. Right. Sometimes losing your sense of smell, it may be a sign of a more serious disorder, such as Parkinson's or other mild cognitive impairments, Alzheimer's. So basically, if you are noticing a significant change, you need to let your doctor know.
Right. Right. So smells can keep you safe. Smell of smoke.
Yep.
And gas leaks. Yep. That's a big one. Spoiled food.
How often do we see that?
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're with clients, maybe only a couple times a week, we will come in and it will be very, very bad.
Oh my goodness. They
don't know.
Yeah. No, we had a client one time, and the daughter-in-law took me into the other room to show me the kitchen. And she said, the biggest thing is he can't smell anything. So open the fridge and check all of the food. You know, the butter will be covered with green and gross, and he can't smell it, so he'll eat it.
Right.
And they had lived in Alaska, so this had been a significant amount of time for it to get to that way.
Sure.
Because once they got here, they realized that they needed more help in the home. And so at that point, they were like, we need somebody to come in and be checking the butter and checking the this and that, you know, and it was kind of icky, but we got him back into ship shape.
Yeah, we did. The other thing that can cause some problems, household chemicals. So if you're not able to smell them, you might get a little overdose of it.
Oh boy. Never thought about that.
Really? Yeah. I have the super sniffer. So even the slightest use of chemicals for cleaning can almost have a bad, I just might have to leave while the cleaning is being done. It's just.
Well, actually, there's been times that people have asked us, we'll use their products in the home because they might use something that's completely sense-free, or they request that we send somebody in that doesn't have any kind of perfumes on at all because they're so incredibly sensitive. And some of us don't think about that, you know, just do. I picked up one of our clients just the other day, and as he got in, I got a whiff of all of his cologne, and I know he thought he smelled pretty, but I was just a little too much. But it was a nice day, and we rode with the windows down. But it had to be pretty strong for me to get to the point that it would affect you.
Right. Yeah.
It just I was like, I actually had thought that. I thought, geez, I'm glad I picked this guy up because Inga would get a raging headache from this.
Yeah, crazy. So did you know with your sense of taste, okay, so there are tiny taste buds in your mouth, right? And they're on your tongue, in your throat, on the roof of your mouth. And what we call flavor is based on 5 basic tastes. And those would be sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and savory. And that these flavors plus the sensations of heat, coolness, and texture combine inside of the mouth to give us the sense of taste. So along with how it tastes, how food smells is also a part of what makes up its flavor, right? So if you're losing your smell at all, that can be a problem. And then when your food tastes bland, a lot of people will try to improve the flavor by adding salt or sugar to it, right?
Oh boy.
And that it's not always healthy for older people, especially if there are any medical problems going on like high blood pressure or diabetes. But how many times I know that I've had it where I'll go out to lunch with someone, whether it's a colleague or friend or whatever, and just automatically before they even taste the food, the salt shaker comes out and just gets doused all over it. And
have you ever added too much salt to something and then you were just like,
oops, well,
now I have to eat this.
Yes. Or how do I fix that?
Yeah. Scrape it off.
What can I take out or what can I add to for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So basically people who have lost some of their sense of smell some of their sense of taste, they may not eat the foods that they need to in order to stay healthy. And then that ends up causing other issues like weight loss, malnutrition, not getting calories that they need or the protein, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals that they need from their food. And basically, we talk about it all the time, almost in every episode, about how diet is really important. And so eating food that's good for you is super important to your health and overall well-being.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so back again to the causes of why we lose our taste. It's those salivary glands that you were talking about. Can get damaged, or even if they're not producing enough saliva.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
Those little things really are important.
Yeah. I cannot wrap my head around the human body.
Oh, I know.
And how it all works together and how
intricate.
important everything is. But
yeah. Medications like antibiotics and pills, and some medications for depression and bladder control issues can make you have a dry mouth. So that's a problem, and that will cause your food to taste funny. I don't remember what it is, but sometimes when you're on a medicine, it will make your food feel or taste like metallic-y. Yeah. I've
had that happen before. Or just after the medicine itself, you just have that like metal taste in your mouth. It's yucky.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. But anyway, so basically they do say that if you're having problems with a medicine that you think is affecting your taste, that there might be something different that you can try, but certainly talk to your doctor about it and don't stop taking your medicine until you have that professional medical advice.
Right. We kind of talked about, the cancer treatments and all that. So that's a big thing to talk with your doctor. So what's interesting, going back to food, if you can't taste, they say that colors and spices can help. If you're having trouble smelling and tasting your food, try adding color and texture to make your food more interesting. Ugh, this isn't going to work for me. For example, try eating brightly colored vegetables like carrots, sweet potatoes, broccoli, and tomatoes. Also, if your diet allows, flavor your food with a little butter, olive oil, cheese, nuts, or fresh herbs like sage, thyme, or rosemary. To put zing into your food, add mustard, hot pepper, onion, garlic, ginger, different spices, or lemon or lime juice. I'm a sriracha girl.
Yes, and you're the yellow mustard from Alley Connection.
Oh,
it's really kind of funny to watch you eat
every single time we have Alley Connection. At least once I've got to just like take a dip and just a little bit more, because just a dab will do you, right? And it will clean every orifice in your body.
You start sweating and everything
and you're
starts
just like,
running
you did it again, didn't you, Julie?
Questioning your life choices.
Sweat. But it hurts so good. So I do it again.
You got to just, know that you're alive.
Yeah.
Feel alive, man. If that helps you, that's great.
Yeah.
Not always, but oftentimes I'll look at my plate of food or whatever I've prepared for the family and try to make sure that there's some color in it, because don't they say that the color is good, and usually those things are
not
some
as
sort
fun.
of a fruit or vegetable.
Yes.
And
broccoli.
Usually it's not
stinking
super
broccoli.
colorful.
Asparagus.
Did I tell you when we were showing lambs a couple weeks ago, one of the girls that was with us, she was just having a craving for asparagus. So we were trying to find a restaurant that she could get asparagus at. And everybody else was like, are you kidding me? Asparagus?
Goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness. You can go to the specialist for your taste and smell. And basically they will look at different things that are going on with your ears, nose, and throat, as well as your voice box, mouth, and parts of the neck. And they'll ask you questions like, can you smell anything at all? Can you taste any food? When did you first notice the problem? Is the problem getting worse? Have you been told you have allergies or chronic sinus problems? And what medicines do you take? So that's where they're going to start to kind of go backwards.
Right.
And see what in the world, if they can reverse any of that.
Sure. And identify what's causing your challenges.
Yeah. And actually, I know that my husband tends to think that that bout with COVID was a bit of his trouble, but he also has sinus issues. And he actually needs to get that procedure where they go up and do a clippy thing and it opens up your sinuses real good. And I guess it's immediately you can breathe better. And
really,
yeah, it's really a very cool thing. I know several people that have had it done, and I can't remember what it's called. But you know, he won't go and do that. So he uses that sinus for spray. And I keep telling him, nah, quit using that so much. But you know,
eventually, what does that do to your brain?
I would think it's not good.
I've used sinus stuff before, and it's a really weird sensation. Yeah. I can't imagine using it on a regular basis, but we all get used to it.
Well,
right?
I think, you know, his years in the woods when it was so dry and dusty and stuff, you know, it just adds up after years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the point mostly that we're trying to make is that if you do start to lose your sense of taste or smell, it can cause potential risks for you. Julie, this is new territory for you.
I don't even know what's going on.
So essentially you want to get things checked out. If you're having problems and there's not like an obvious reason why. For those of you who are not watching this video right now, Tuna has decided that she is all up in Julie's grill. So she's rubbing all over her and loving on her, and Julie's going to fall out of her chair because she doesn't quite know what to do with this situation.
How long have we had Tuna? For a couple of years now.
A lot.
And I think that this is the first time she's even paid attention to me like that I'm even a human, except for the person that opens the door for her when she wants to go in and out.
Oh, but she's just trying to make up for all of the time.
It's going to take more than that.
Oh, Julie, she loves you so much. Look at her. She's just...
Tuna.
This is great. If you're not watching this video, you really need to be. This is good stuff.
I'm not sure if I love it or hate it.
I know.
But when she's all... Now, you know what? I'm going to cuddle her, and then she's going to like smack at me and go...
Don't touch me. I'm wild.
So basically, there are lots of blogs out there. There's actually like an institute of nasal, whatever. I've lost my whole train of thought.
This cat is in heaven.
So anyway.
So check out the blogs if you're having trouble with your taste and smell.
Go see your doctor.
We've lost control of this episode. Oh, yeah, there it is. Cat butt right in the face. Okay. So when aging steals your sense of taste, you need to remember that the loss of taste poses risks. So you've got to make sure to get in touch with your doctor and be evaluated if it is causing, if it's not a cold or a flu or something that's really, readily identifiable about what's going on with you, you need to check with your doctor.
Yes, for sure. Just get on top of it if it's going to be something bigger.
And they have things out there. Like I remember when my grandpa was ill, they had like a salt replacement that didn't have the bad stuff that he couldn't have with the salt, but still tasted somewhat like salt.
Yeah.
I mean, not exactly. It's kind of like sugar-free stuff.
Well, I'm almost wondering if it's a psychological thing where you just take it and you do this and you see white coming down out of it and it falls onto your food.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say that are some ways that you can make your meals more enjoyable. Make them social events, right? And so I think about my mom and grandma, and they have dinner together every night. And my brother's close by, so a lot of times they'll go and have dinner with my brother. Or if he's making something fancy and they don't want to come out, or go over, then meals get delivered.
Oh,
so I think that's really, really important. Also watch the temperature, and basically food that's supposed to taste or to be hot tastes better when it's hot. Food that's supposed to be served cold tastes better when it's cold. So think about these things.
Right.
And that makes me think of crumble cookies, because there are instructions that go along with crumble cookies, and some of them are supposed to be eaten warm and some of them are supposed to be eaten chilled, and they are better if you follow the instructions.
No, I do think that they're delicious regardless.
This is true. I mean, I'm not complaining either way. using herbs and spices and trying new things. And then also, savoring your favorite meals. Tuna is really just all about being the center of this show today.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
And our guest today will be Tuna.
Tuna. Yep. Anyway, so what else? Oh, I know you had come to us with our grandma saying is actually a story.
Yeah.
The smells of grandma's kitchen.
Yes, it's so sweet. So I just thought that we should do that today because it brought up the grandma and the grandpa. The smells in grandma's kitchen. I didn't know how old my grandma was. Old was a relative thing to a 7-year-old. I only knew that she was a lot older than my dad, who was, in my mind's eye, was pretty old. But obviously old has something to do with smell because things just smelled different at my grandma's house. You may expect me to account memories to the special aroma of freshly baked bread and the spicy fragrances of cinnamon rolls or other pleasing aroma, but there wasn't much bread baking at grandma's. No, at her house bread came from a wrapper that claimed to build bodies 12 ways. There was a natural smell at grandma's. I guess that was because much of the food on her table came out of the garden in the backyard. She grew up during a time when shopping at the supermarket was an exceptional occurrence. People grew the food they ate. The remarkable thing about that is that you witnessed the middle stage of food preparation. Your senses were involved in the preparation. You heard the green beans being snapped and the husk being shucked. I remember watching her snapping green beans in her lap on a apron and then carrying them to the sink cradled in that apron. The smells from the back porch drifted into the kitchen. A mixture of smells lingered there, including the musky smell of the earth. Onions hung from a string open for the breeze to stir their fragrance and enfold it with the others. The slightly pungent smell of okra and beans freshly cut and snapped, and the earthly smell of a burlap sack of potatoes that were still growing stringy roots. Food took a little longer to prepare in Grandma's kitchen. It seemed that the smell of something cooking was always present. Although I don't remember her baking loaf bread, she did make homemade biscuits for breakfast every morning, and we'd have homemade rolls at dinner. The breakfast biscuits were made from scratch, and the smell of canned apple butter, peach marmalade, and plum jam mixed with the hot butter spread still causes my mouth to water. I remember
Same.
her pies. We always had dessert at Grandma's. Mincemeat, pecan, apple, and my favorite pumpkin were always sprinkled with a little cinnamon and guaranteed a place at her table. At Grandma's, there wasn't just one pie. No, when she baked pies, she baked 2 or 3, which meant you were always guaranteed a generous slice at her table. There was no need for little baskets of potpourri. The herbs, mints, and spices used in Grandma's kitchen wafted through the entire house. These pleasant smells would blend together with whatever was cooking and baking in her kitchen to create an aroma that will never be packaged in a retail store. Maybe it was because I was just 7 years old, but I remember these things always tasted better at her table. They just had to because they smelled so good. I suppose that's why I remember it being such a special treat to go to Grandma's during the holidays. Her kitchen was in full production at those special times. Although I miss the experience of her kitchen, I look forward to the times that we gather as a family today. My grandma passed on many years ago. The memories of her and her kitchen will never fade. They have just taken a new form. Because even though they are the memories of a child, they have become a part of the man I am today. I've changed roles over the years. I am now the grandpa, and my own grandchildren scurry throughout my house. My wife prepares special dishes just for them, just like my grandma did for me. However, to me, it just doesn't smell like grandma's, but it does to them. It warms my heart when I hear them say, "I like to come to your house, Grandpa."
Oh, that makes me think so much of all of my grandparents on my dad's side and my mom's side. And for sure.
Yep. That's a story that everybody can relate to.
Well, thank you for bringing that to us and sparking some memories for me at my grandma's table, both Grandma Dolores and Grandma Fisher. And I think that's it for today. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do that. You can do that at Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube, subscribe to or go and like our Facebook Care and Share group. And if you have grandma stories or verses that you would like to share with us, please email those to thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Have a good day.